We've all heard of vitamin D, right? The famous sunshine vitamin. We're told it's a must-have for strong bones and a healthy immune system. But what if the story we all know is missing some really critical, maybe even dangerous, details?
So let's dive right in because the story of vitamin D is so much more complicated than just getting a little sun. We're going to kick things off by challenging the very name of this nutrient, and in the process, uncover a pretty surprising paradox at its core.
All right, first up, let's get one fundamental fact straight. Because honestly, getting this right is a total game changer for how you think about this substance.
That's right, you heard me. Despite what it's called, vitamin D doesn't actually fit the classic definition of a vitamin. A vitamin is something your body can't make on its own and has to get from food, but your body actively manufactures and controls this one in a very, very different way.
See, vitamin D is actually a pro-hormone. You can think of it as the raw material for an incredibly potent steroid hormone called calcitriol, and that is the absolute key to understanding both its amazing power and its potential dangers. It's not just a nutrient, it's a major league regulator of your body's systems.
So, how exactly does this transformation happen? I mean, how does your body take something it gets from sunlight or food and level it up into this superhormone? Well, it turns out to be a pretty fascinating multi-step process.
This journey is laid out perfectly here. It all starts in your skin or from your diet. From there, it makes a pit stop in the liver, which converts it into a storage form. That's the number doctors are looking at in a blood test. But here's the catch. It's not active yet. For the final activation, it has to travel to the kidneys. They perform the last conversion into that powerful hormone, calcitriol. This whole complex pathway is really a built-in safety system, which just goes to show how tightly your body needs to regulate this stuff.
Okay, so why does your body go through all this trouble? Well, because when it's all working correctly, this hormone is absolutely vital for your health. But here's the disturbing part. A whole lot of people aren't getting anywhere near enough.
Just look at that number. That is the estimated number of people worldwide affected by vitamin D deficiency. It's a staggering, truly global health issue with some very serious consequences.
And its benefits stretch so much further than just bones. We now know it has what scientists call pleiotropic effects, which is just a fancy way of saying it does a whole bunch of different things. It's a key player for your immune system, it helps regulate blood pressure, it cuts down on inflammation, and yeah, having low levels is linked to a higher risk of a ton of chronic diseases.
And this just puts that contrast in black and white. On one side, you have deficiency. We're talking bone disorders, a weaker immune system, higher risks for your heart. But on the other side, when you have enough, you get strong bones, a tough immune response, and better cardiovascular health. The benefits are just undeniable.
But this is exactly where our story takes a sharp turn. Because it's such a powerful hormone, that line between being helpful and being harmful can be crossed, and the consequences can be severe. Now, this is not a list of mild side effects. These are the intense, debilitating symptoms of vitamin D toxicity, pulled straight from medical journals. It is a very serious condition.
The official term is hypervitaminosis D. What's basically happening is the hormone goes into overdrive and causes calcium to flood your bloodstream. This is called hypercalcemia, and it is incredibly dangerous. All that extra calcium starts getting deposited in soft tissues, damaging your heart, your blood vessels, and your kidneys.
And here's the number you have to watch out for. A blood level over 150 nanograms per milliliter is pretty much the clinical red flag for toxicity.
Look at this comparison again. It perfectly illustrates that this is a double-edged sword. On the left, you have this sort of vague aches and fatigue of not having enough. But on the right, you've got the acute and dangerous symptoms of having too much, like confusion, kidney stones, and even the hardening of your blood vessels. This is a substance that absolutely demands respect.
So how does this even happen? Well, let me be crystal clear. It's virtually impossible to get toxic levels from sunshine or your diet. The culprit, almost every single time, is supplements. It can happen from people accidentally taking way too much, from massive manufacturing errors where a pill has thousands of times the dose it should, or from people self-medicating with extreme amounts without any medical supervision.
Okay, so the key is to stay in that healthy middle range, right? Not deficient, not toxic. Simple enough. Just get a blood test. Well, that's where our final and maybe most surprising complication comes into play.
Now, this is just fascinating. This slide shows data from a real study where they sent blood samples from the exact same people to two different high-quality labs. The results? They were shockingly all over the place. One lab might report low levels, while the other, testing the very same blood, found much higher levels.
And a huge piece of this puzzle is that there's no universal standard for what sufficient even means. This table shows how different labs use different normal ranges. One lab might tell you a level of 25 is deficient, while another could say you're totally fine. Heck, even the same lab might change its own reference range over time. The goalposts are always moving.
And this isn't just some abstract academic problem. This measurement maze has real-world consequences. How can a doctor confidently treat you for a deficiency or warn you about toxicity if the tests themselves are inconsistent and the targets are always changing?
So we're left with this crazy paradox. A substance that isn't really a vitamin but a powerful hormone, that's essential for our health but dangerous in excess, and our main tool for measuring it is riddled with inconsistencies. It just really highlights how important it is to not just get tested, but to have a really informed conversation with your doctor about what those numbers truly mean for you.